Welcome back, everyone. Let's go ahead and do a full camera comparison for the most part between the Samsung Galaxy S22 and the iPhone 13. Now, these phones have a little bit of a different camera setup. With the Galaxy S22, you have a triple camera setup, a wide, ultra-wide, and telephoto lens. The iPhone 13 has that dual camera setup, a wide and an ultra-wide sensor. So a little bit of a different setup. You're lacking a telephoto lens on the iPhone 13, but there are some pros and cons between both, and I cannot wait to go ahead and explain them to you. Now, this specific video, I took these photos in the same lighting conditions. They were at the same exact time for the most part. I didn't test any videos. I'm probably going to say that for a different video, to be honest. This is raw camera comparison. I'm also talking about some of the social media applications, Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, and the quality difference between them, because there's a lot of a difference between them for sure. I didn't edit these photos or anything like that. So let's go and take a look. Again, with the Galaxy S22, you're going to be getting way more features for sure, but the iPhone 13 quality, especially in those social media applications, is still top tier in my opinion. So on the left side, we will have all of the iPhone 13 photos and videos. On the right side, we will have the Galaxy S22 photos in this specific case. Now, this photo looks like I probably didn't take them in the right specific location, but you can immediately see, again, the colors are quite a bit different. With something like the iPhone 13, I'm kind of noticing that the colors are a little bit more lighter in a way. The Galaxy S22, I think, did a great job at kind of darkening the colors. The iPhone 13 did a great job at kind of, lighting up the colors and making things look a little bit more browner, which could be a good thing for some people. Now, I do think at the rest of the window and everything, they look kind of about the same, but that was pretty much the first thing that came out to my eye. But this is not that big of a difference. This next photo was also like a horrible lighting condition photo I took right pretty much just, in a dark, room. Again, nothing super crazy. I can't really tell that big of a difference. With the iPhone 13 though, it does kind of look like, if you kind of look right up there, and if you kind of look right up there on the scan, it does kind of look like to me that some of the details are more preserved on the iPhone 13 camera. You can even see that if you look at this specific little portion right here, and again, whatever I did with one photo, I did on the other. If I tap to focus on one, I tap to focus on the other. And it does look to me that this specific H, or whatever this is, or U, looks a little bit more in detail on the iPhone 13. However, the Galaxy S22 photo looks a little less grainy, but when I start zooming in there, it does look a little bit kind of grainy on both, with the Galaxy S22 looking a little bit more grainy when it comes down to it. So not a big difference, but something to know for sure. Now, this next photo was actually very interesting. So again, kind of similar situation, indoor room with kind of decent lighting, and you can see that both of these photos look very, very different. So with the Galaxy S22, it looks like a filter was overlaid on this specific, photo. Not a big deal, but it was something to keep in mind. So you can see right here that the, specific flower, in my opinion, does look a little bit more punchier at first on the iPhone 13, but when you start zooming in, it looks like the colors kind of start looking the same, and there's not really as big of a difference as before. Now, if we look at like this specific edge right here on both, it looks to me that the iPhone 13 kind of did a better job at, again, preserving some of these details. It looks like I can see more lines on the iPhone 13, and even with this specific line right here, it looks like the brown or whatever, I like how it's a little bit more darker on the iPhone 13. I actually do like that a lot. On the tip of these specific flowers right here, if we just look at these petals, kind of looks about the same. Looks like the bokeh effect kind of blend in on both. If we look at these little balls down here, again, I don't really think it's that big of a difference, but immediately when I saw it, I do think that they both kind of look around the same, but I like the iPhone 13. It looks cooler, but it also looks sharper as well. Now, looking at this next photo, again, nothing crazy, but I was surprised to see that the Galaxy S22 photo looked pretty much as, blown out as it did. For some reason, the iPhone 13 did a great job at pretty much just preserving the colors again, but with the Galaxy S22, it does look like it kind of blew out a lot of the color here, which was very weird. I wasn't expecting that to happen, but I don't know why it did. I didn't, mess with the brightness or anything, so that was something that kind of shocked me. I think everything else, though, I mean, if the sunlight wasn't as crazy as it was, but you can even see that the sunlight was the same exact way. It pretty much ended right here, pretty much ended right there. So I'm not too sure why it ended off being like that on the Galaxy S22. It's kind of weird, but if you're taking a lot of photos in different lighting conditions, especially in direct sunlight, the iPhone may be the better way to go. Now, this next photo was pretty basic, just portrait mode between both. I didn't want to go super crazy with it, but I don't really notice that big of a difference, except for the fact that the Galaxy S22, like I saw with some other photos, kind of put a little bit of a filter over it, which I kind of like. It definitely looks a lot warmer of a color on the Galaxy S22 than on the iPhone 13. It really depends on which one you actually prefer, though. I don't really think there's one specific photo that looks way better, but I actually do think with portrait mode, it looks a little bit better on the Samsung Galaxy S22. So I would probably give that a little bit of an edge on the S22 over the iPhone 13. Again, nothing crazy, but one of those things is just to kind of keep in mind. Now this next photo was outdoors. This was one of the first outdoor photos I took, and pretty much again in direct sunlight. Now you can see that the little, lighting effect, little whatever, the sunlight thing, it's kind of coming on both, so not really a big difference there. They kind of have the same thing. If we kind of zoom into like this little green patchy area, I really don't notice too many differences. They kind of look like the same exact photo. If I were to zoom into the bottom here, and if I were to zoom into something like the bottom here, but one big thing that I'm seeing is that with the Galaxy S22, it looks like you can see more of the lines here. With the iPhone 13, it looks like it kind of darkened a few things up here and there. On the background, it looks a little bit more warmer on the iPhone 13 as well. So it completely comes up to you like which one you prefer. But I do think with something like the Galaxy S22, I think that photo looks a little bit better here. Now this next photo, again, nothing crazy, just, basically outside siding of the house or whatever. And again, taken at the same exact time, you can see with the iPhone 13, it definitely made things look a little bit more warmer. With the Galaxy S22, it looks a little bit more wider, so that is something to kind of keep in mind. If you like a little bit more cooler and a wider photo, at least in outdoor conditions, it looks like the Galaxy S22 may be the better way to go, but I've also had the exact opposite effect on these phones as well, even with my past camera comparisons with the Galaxy S21. So it completely comes up to you and how these, specific filters kind of work when you use them. It can be a little finicky at first, so that's another big thing to keep in mind. I think between these two, there's not really one specific photo that wins in my opinion. Now this next one was just of like the ground or whatever, and again, nothing super crazy. I took them at the exact same time. They look kind of the same thing, a little bit more, I guess, brick red here versus like kind of like, I don't know, like light red here. I don't know what the best way to describe it, but nothing crazy here either. This next photo is pretty much of the circle thing, and again, nothing super crazy. They both kind of give me the same impression. However, again, coloring is a little bit different, and it's weird that when you get into a photo like this, that both these phones can have different type of coloring effects, which is so crazy. If I go and take a look right up here, for example, a little bit more graininess going on with something like the Galaxy S22, it seems like, but the iPhone 13 photo still looks great. And again, I don't really have too much to complain about on that specific photo either. The background may look a little bit more blurred out on something like the Galaxy S22, but the iPhone 13 still does a tremendous job as well. But the iPhone 13 did a great job as well, and I don't really have too much to complain about there either. So I definitely do think when it comes down to it, this photo looks kind of the same on both as well. Now this final photo is one of my favorite ones to do, and it's pretty much of the siding and pretty much of just this little like subject in the middle. And as I mentioned before, when you have a photo like this, they're both going to do great. It really comes down to how much blurriness is going on in the background. And again, not portrait mode or anything like that, but they both kind of give me the same thing. Maybe the iPhone 13 is a little bit more blurred out. However, when you kind of zoom into the bottom right here, and if I zoom into the bottom at this little portion right here, it kind of does look like that the Galaxy S22 has a little bit more graininess going on, at least in my opinion. You guys can kind of tell for yourself too. If I go and zoom in all the way right here, it does kind of look like that there's a little grain right here. If I go and look up to the top, like this portion, I kind of see a little bit more graininess, but it's really not a crazy big deal. And if you don't really care about zooming in this much, you're not going to notice that big of a difference. But again, it's very interesting to me how both these phones can give a little bit of a different color to the same exact spot. Like it was taken at the same exact spot, pretty much seconds within each other, and we're still getting some differences in the color in the background. So that's another big thing to keep in mind as well. Now, that kind of covers up the camera comparison. As I mentioned before, I have been using these phones extensively in other social media applications as well. And here's the thing about this, right? With iPhones, they've always done a great job at just, handling social media apps, things like Snapchat and Instagram and TikTok. They have great quality video and photos. Samsung said they teamed up with these applications as well. I haven't really seen that quality change. So I'm going to be honest, I think the iPhone definitely wins when you're using those applications. And I think the iPhone 13 is probably the better camera as a whole, to be honest. However, the Galaxy S22 has so many features built in. It has 8K capability. It has so many features within the camera application itself, let alone all the other applications you can download and install in the Google Play Store. So I definitely do think Samsung has a lot more features going on for that camera, but I do think the iPhone 13 is probably the better camera for me personally. And if you're somebody who uses a lot of those social media apps, you may want to go ahead and actually check out the iPhone side rather than the Samsung side. If you want all the features in a camera, then definitely the Samsung side is probably the better one for you. So that kind of covers it. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.